Yo, Dalade.
Yes, sir. Jake, what's happening?
Okay, cool. So I got it recording now, and this is just, we don't have to treat it like a regular interview. This is just, us doing dialogue. You know what I mean? But I guess just talking about what we were just talking about, the whole Chitlin circuit thing. Talk to me about your come up, kind of, to being a promoter and booking shows and being a booking agent and all this stuff.
Yeah. For me, man, it actually started when I was in high school. Like, I was always into music, and I think most people start off as an artist, and I was a songwriter, dropped a couple mixtapes in my earlier days as Dalade too. You can go see that shit. It's out like on fucking all the platforms. So I did that for a little while, man, and I was throwing parties with my best friend because he's a DJ T Swan. He's still with me to this very day. We started Splash Life together, man, in fucking 2009 or 10 or whatever. And then from there, we graduated high school, and we started just throwing parties in our local area, New Orleans, the Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama little area, which is a lot of people refer to as the Chitlin circuit, man. And we did that for a multiple amount of years, man. Just started kicking up dust. And of course, if you're familiar with New Orleans, a lot of legendary artists are from that area. You got the whole No Limit crew, Master P and them. You got the whole Cash Money crew with Birdman and Wayne and everybody, Juvie, and you just got a ton of people that came after that. Boosie, Webby, Kevin Gates, NBA Youngboy. All of those guys come from this same tutelage and this same area, man. So for me, we were just doing our thing locally, bro, and kicking up dust. And then 2014 came, Lil Wayne was the biggest artist in the world, in 2014. Had Drake, Nicki Minaj, had all that shit going for itself. Young Money was on top of the world. And then, everything had kind of came to like a little screeching little halt for a second there when he sued Cash Money. So when like everybody was like, wow, Wayne sued Cash Money, they didn't see that one coming, man. But like when he sued Cash Money, that for me is how I got my start in booking. So the crazy part about that story is, Jake, is that I randomly got a call from Cortez Bryant, which is, at the time he was managing Wayne, Drake, and
Yep.
And my little crew, Splash Life, Splash Committee, we were just fucking up shit, bro. Like, we were all over the streets, you know what I mean? We're doing these little parties. They were called Splash Bash. And we had a party series going on, and we're talking about 800 to 900 kids, like college kids and, freaking young adults just coming out to party with us because we had the diverse group of people. Like, and Splash actually means something. A lot of people don't know, like, it's an acronym, Splash. Some people love and some hate. That's what the word splash means for us. So you got the some people love and some hate committee.
Oh, that's hard, bro.
Bro, that's what splash means. Some people love and some hate. So we turned it into a lifestyle. It's like, okay, we're gonna call ourselves Splash Life because it's a lifestyle. Like, it's a some people love and some hate crew. You're either gonna love us or you're gonna hate us. There's no in between, So that's where Splash came from. And we're on the water. New Orleans is on the water. My dad's from the Biloxi area. Biloxi has the beach. New Orleans is on the water. So we were just, and I'm a Pisces. So it's just like, okay, it made all the sense in the world for us to embrace, the water and keep running with the word splash. So anyway, long story short, we were messing it up, bro. We were killing it. And then Cortez Bryant reaches out. And at the time, of course, when you sue your label, you can't do anything for real. You can't release no music. You're not going to really do any big concerts and any big merch stuff because, of course, the label is going to get a part of that. So Cortez says, well, Dollar, I see you doing your thing down here in the clubs, and I see you doing your thing in the streets, bro. Do you have anybody that could buy these Lil Wayne parties? I said, Cortez, Wayne is going to come to the club. I thought this shit was unbelievable, first of all. I was like, there's no way in the world Lil Wayne in 2014 is coming to the fucking club. Like, it was just unbelievable at the time, Jake. But he was like, yeah, we're going to come to the club. We're going to stay for 60 minutes. He's going to do 3 to 4 songs, and we're going to call them parties. You can't advertise them as Lil Wayne performances, a Lil Wayne live in concert. You have to say hosted by Lil Wayne or a night with Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. So I put together a little e-blast, a little email blast, and I sent it out to the people that I knew that I was already doing business with from the club area and in the little pockets that I had, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, right? Man, I'm thinking maybe I'll be lucky to get one or two, you know what I mean? And they were expensive parties, man. They were like $75K, but they were Lil Wayne in 2014. So for people with money,
how much was he asking?
Yeah, they were $75,000, bro. So I was selling them for $80, you know what I'm saying? And that was still under my 10%. So to me, 80 just sounded better than, fucking 77 or 82. It's just, people don't want to, you know what I mean? Just make it a flat little fee or whatever it was. So I was making $5,000 off of each one, man. So I was trying to sell as many as I could. Man, I messed around, Jake, man, and sold over 10 of them, bro. And then that turned into the Lil Wayne Sorry for the Wait tour, mixtape tour, which was my first ever tour, first ever time really booking Wayne, right? And I sold over 10 of them, man. And then from that point, I was on tour with Wayne. And I was going to these clubs. Wayne was staying for an hour. He was doing 4 songs, And that's how that shit ended up just manifesting, bro. And we went from like Tallahassee, Florida. We went to Biloxi, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Peoria, Illinois, Carbondale. We went to so many different places, man, all over the place. And people saw me as the credible face that was, who's this guy bringing Wayne to these clubs? And it was me, because Cortez wasn't going. Like, Cortez didn't go on none of those. He would just accept the money, make sure Wayne showed up, and then it was up to me to make sure I did my part with the venue and connect the venue, with the artist, and boom, 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 make sure everything was there with Wayne for his hospitality, his tech rider, and all that shit, bro. And that right there gave me all the credibility I needed, bro. All the credibility I needed. Cortez added my little logo to the bottom of the tour flyer, the Splash Life logo. And this is 2014, 2015, man. And then after that tour was over, bro, everything just kind of fell in my lap. Like, right after that, I got Boosie. Boosie came home from jail. I started booking shows for him. Kevin Gates blew the fuck up. I started booking for Kevin. Like, immediately the Louisiana market just came right in my lap. You know what I'm saying? From Wayne,
yeah.
Quite naturally. So that's how that shit happened, bro. And then after that, I just started getting more and more acts. Like, damn, I could take all the people I have access to the same places I just took Wayne,
Right. And then it's just, bro, that's 2014 all the way through 2021. That's just how it's been going.
Yeah, that's how it's been going. And then from there, bro, like, I never had any exclusive artists like completely exclusive to myself that only I booked until this year, because I was just booking for whoever would call. You know what I mean? If you needed Future, I got access to Future. I can get you Future. If you needed Thug, I can get you Thug. You need Gunner, whoever you need, I can get you whoever you freaking need, because I just have access to so many people just through my catalog. And if I don't know it, I can make a call or two, and I can get access to whoever that needs to be booked. So for me, I didn't have to have anybody exclusive. I was just booking for whoever needed it, whoever called, So in 2021, when I ran across Lexi Pantera, and it was actually, the interesting story is a friend of mine, the first time I heard about Lexi was through Chanel West Coast. And Chanel, I got Chanel through Lil Wayne too, because at the time in 14, 15, if you go back, Wayne was supposed to sign Chanel, but that never actually manifested because of the lawsuit. So she was just sitting over there on the first Young Money compilation. Chanel's on it, if you look at the BET, whenever they won the Group of the Year with the BET Award, Chanel walked on stage with them, accepted the award and everything. She was a part of Young Money, but just through the lawsuit, she never got her contract. So it never manifested. So, but in the midst of all that, Mac Main, which is a really good friend of mine, he asked me if I can move Chanel around and it's kind of the same places I had took Wayne to. I was like, oh, yeah, this is no problem. It's a no-brainer. She's on MTV. She's really cheap at the time. She was under 10 grand, so it was no problem for us to pitch Chanel to these buyers, to these venues, and they kind of hopped all over it. So fast forward to 2021 or 2020, she told me, she was like, hey, Dollar, my friend Lexi, me and her, I want to start doing some girl stuff together, yada, yada, yada. You should take a look into her. So at the time, I ain't going to lie, I didn't jump right on it, Jake. I didn't jump right on it at all. I kind of gapped it off a little bit. And then it came back again through me and your mutual friend, Jamie Adler. So Jamie calls me in the top of this year, and he's trying to do a favor for one of his friends, Trevor, and he says, hey, Dave, can you get this girl Lexi on some of your shows? I see you got some stuff coming up with K-Camp. Can you at least try to get her on some stuff, man? And I said, man, Jamie, this Lexi name, where do I know this name from? And then it hit me. I was like, oh, Chanel told me about this same girl. So as soon as Jamie hit me, then that's when it set, bro. That's when I actually jumped right into it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because Jamie and I got a great relationship. That's one of my OGs. I consider Jamie like, you know, like he's one of them ones, bro. So, like, when he calls and asks for something, you know, I'm going to try to accommodate my guy, you know, as much as I can. So when he did that, I took a chance on Lexi, man. I booked her. I paid for it myself. I put her on the K-Camp shows, 2 of them for my birthday, which is March of this year, March 11th and March 12th. I put Lexi on the K-Camp show in Panama City Beach, Florida, and then I turned around and took her to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, for my back-to-back birthday celebrations, and she did such a phenomenal job, and she actually performed so great. I was like, man, I can see this girl being on some young Jennifer Lopez type shit. You feel me? I knew she was an actress. I knew she had a little thing going on with the twerk, but I was not familiar with any of her music. I didn't know she was a talented musician, did not know she could sing and songwrite. I had no idea about none of this, Jake. You know what I mean? So when I seen her, it blew my mind. So the first few minutes of me picking her up from the airport, she took my aux cord, plugged it into my Escalade, and started playing me these songs, right? The third or fourth song, she plays Booty on her, but no Trina verse. So she plays Booty on. I said, man, run that back. I said, hold on, this has a little bop to it. Run that back. So she plays it back. I'm listening to it. I said, man, I can hear Trina on this. This is what I'm telling her in the car. I said, I can hear Trina on this. She was like, you know Trina? I was like, yeah, I've been booking for Trina for over a decade. Like, her manager, Corey, is one of my best friends. Like, we talk almost every day, you know, just in general, just on some best friend type shit. So when she asked me that, the very next day, I called Corey. I said, Corey, man, I got a song. I need Trina on it. He said, send me the record. I sent the record. He played it for Trina. She loved it. We worked out the business. Lexi took care of her business. The next week, Trina sent the record back. And then the following week, we're in Miami shooting the video.
Crazy. That's good business right there. That's how you move along.
That's how it happened, bro. And then from there, we shot the video. We went back, and, you know, the video was done. Me and Lexi did an exclusive deal for her to be the first exclusive actual talent on Splash Life booking that we would exclusively book for. And she was the first one. Like, I haven't booked anybody exclusively until her. You know what I mean? Outside, like I said before, I was just booking whoever would call. You call me tomorrow and say you need Drake. I can get you Drake. You just better have about 4 million. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what it was. So, like, from with Lexi, I just like, I saw something special, and I wanted to build off of it, bro. And that kind of, you know, brings us up to speed to right now.
That's dope. So, I know you had done some work with Pooh Shiesty at one point in time. Can you talk about that at all?
Oh, absolutely. I can. And Free Shiesty, that's like one of my little brothers. And how that happened was my relationship with Yo Gotti's manager, Jason. And that's another one that stretches back about 10 years. Maybe a little longer than that. When Yo Gotti was actually first starting his first label, it was called Inevitable. He used to scream out I&E, and that was the label he started originally. And he had, I don't know if you remember, he had this little artist, and his name was Snooty Wild. Snooty Wild had the song.
I remember him.
Yayo, right? I'm in love. The Yayo, that little song. And Jason, I started booking a lot of stuff for Snooty Wild, you know, through Jason. And then anytime Jason and Gotti would get a new artist over there, Jason would kind of give me first dibs because he knew I had my market in kind of a smash, you know, the Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana stuff. And, you know, he would give me first dibs on all the artists, man. And then when Shiesty came around at the beginning of actually the end of last year, the end of 2020, Jason hit me with that call again. It's like, yeah, I got the next hottest thing out of Memphis. He just signed the Gucci Man. You're going to want to get on this early, dollar. I'm telling you now, you're going to want to get on this early. So I started booking Shiesty for $3,500, man, Halloween of 2020, right? $3,500. Nobody didn't know who Pooh Shiesty was. He didn't really have a big buzz like that. And then boom, he dropped a song with fucking Gucci Mane on the So Icy Summer. And then right after that, Twerk Something came out. Then right after that, Back in Blood came out. So as soon as Back in Blood hit, Shiesty went through the roof. And then, of course, a lot of people could never get access to Shiesty, so that led them coming back to me. So I had access because Jason going to answer the first call when I call. You know, they're going to answer, and they're going to know I'm doing solid business. So I ended up taking Pooh Shiesty on the road, man, for probably about, we probably did about 15 shows with Shiesty until he got incarcerated, man, all over the place.
Over all the big agencies that were probably after him, they chose you guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, and Shiesty's not exclusive to anybody. Like, he was just accepting whoever they're comfortable working with, you know, because those are different type of guys. So those are street guys. So it's more like who do I trust? You know what I'm saying? Who do I know the back end is going to be there? Who do I know these venues are going to be safe? These shows are going to be successful. So with us, it was just more of the relationship, man. That's what I tell all my people. The relationship is the most important thing in business, man. It's more important than money. Like, you got to have a solid relationship with people, bro. So we took Shiesty. Like, I even got 2 shows right now that I still have in the cut when Shiesty does come home that we already got on the books that were on sale during his incarceration. So we got 2 as soon as he comes out that we're going to run those 2 up. You know, we got one in D.C. and we got one in Mobile, Alabama. And he got to come out and do both of those as soon as he comes home. So, yeah, man, it was a blessing working with Shiesty, and then I ended up getting Big 30 from working with Shiesty, and we're able to book everybody from CMG, man, just directly through Jason. We have a great relationship with Jason and Gotti over there at CMG, Moneybag as well, with his label Bread Gang and all the people that he has that he's actually cultivating over there underneath his brand. So it's just a beautiful thing, man, whenever you start working with people and it just let the relationship just blossom, man. It's just beautiful.
That's dope, bro. That's very cool.
Thank
you. Going forward over the next, couple months, 4 months to close out the year and then into, 2022, what are your plans?
Well, we actually do have 4 shows on the K-Camp Float Tour right now, which is about 30% of his tour. We have the last 4 shows on that. We have a couple shows on Kevin Gates' current tour, the Kaza Tour. We also have a bunch of stuff booked for Tay Money, which is an upcoming Dallas, a female rapper from Dallas, Texas. She has a really big buzz and like a intimate cult-like following, and she's starting to go crazy. Excuse me. We have a lot of stuff for her on the books as well, and we're just closing out strong, man, with K-Camp, Kevin Gates, Tay Money, working Lexi's new song with Trina in there as much as possible. And there's another thing, we work with Trina so much as well, too. I got 3 or 4 shows with Trina on sale currently right now as we speak, too. So, and then going into 2022, we're going to focus more on the brand activations, man. I'm in talks with some bigger brands, and we're trying to help the artists get brand activation deals from, larger endorsement companies, liquor lines, clothing lines, any sort of the female cosmetic lines. We're just trying to kind of lean towards brand activations as well on top of touring shows and, merchandising. So just trying to expand the brand, Jake.
That's big, dude. That's big. I hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
It's wild to go from just throwing parties in the streets to then booking some of the biggest rap artists in the world. What was that like for you personally? Was it a little bit of a shock? Did you love it all? Was it overwhelming at times? Talk to me about that.
It was definitely overwhelming. It definitely, I can't sit here and lie and tell you I knew it was going to happen, because I did not know it was going to happen. I was just working, trying to, make my way out of out of the neighborhood, and I was actually bartending too part-time, man. I had a bartending job at a casino, man, and I was bartending by day, and me and my best friend throwing parties and club promoting by night, man, and until I got that call from Wayne's manager, and then that's when I had to take that leap of faith. I had to say, okay, do I want to stay in there giving this casino these 40 hours a week, or do I want to just do what I love and take a chance? And I put my 2 weeks in, and I went on tour with Wayne. And that was it, bro. It was rough at first. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was living booking to booking, until I figured it out, until I learned how to manage my money, and then I figured out, okay, this is what I got to do. I understand. I had to look at the the economy, and I had to realize, okay, boom, if I know I'm making all this money in the spring and the summer, and things are gonna slow down in the winter and the fall, I just need to save a little bit better, bro. So that was the overwhelming part, just learning how to manage your money when you're not having to go clock in every day to a job, and then being able to actually, facilitate the business. And that's something that I had to just learn, through experience, man. So like at the end of the day, I was like on the job training. I was like OJT. I was just learning as I was going. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody showing me the ropes. I was lucky that Cortez Bryant knew who I was and gave me an opportunity, man. And I just took it and ran with it.
That's real crazy. Real crazy.
Yeah, man. And the interesting thing about Cortez Bryant, a lot of people don't know, he actually, they may know, but the masses may not know, but he actually went to Jackson State College in Jackson, Mississippi, and a lot of my cousins are from up in that area in Jackson, Mississippi. So it was word of mouth, man. Word of mouth got grinding, and us putting in that work got to Cortez Bryant. So that's why I always tell people, you never know who's watching. You never know who's actually paying attention to what you're doing. So just continue to work and don't worry about the results right then. Just continue to do your thing, because when it's your time, God's going to bless you with the opportunity that's supposed to be yours,
Yep.
Yep. That's what worked out, though, Jake.
Just keep preparing.
That's all you got to do, man. I didn't necessarily know at first, I need to start an LLC and let me go get a tax ID number and let me go trademark logo and let me create a website and let me go, I had to go learn all that stuff, man. And that stuff right there, it took me a little while to develop. It took me, I'm not going to say I came out the gate the first year and I had all my business together. I'll be lying if I said that, but I had to learn. I had to go through the ropes, and I just had to, I had to bump my head a few times, and, I had to just figure it out. But like from I wouldn't trade any of it for the world, because like I learned, man, sleeping on Wayne's bus, being able to travel around with him, watching how he moves, watching how he takes care of his crew, watching the ins and outs of bookings, and watching how the venues operate. And I just got very good relationships with the venues, because now if they know you can bring Lil Wayne to them, then they're like, shit, you can bring me anybody.
And then also at the end of the day too, you're sitting there just learning, soaking up information. It's like that nobody could ever take that from you. You're always going to have that,
No, 100%.
So, that's big, because that just went straight into your business.
Yeah, man, it really did. And having the access to, being able to, if I had the funds or had somebody that wanted to book Drake or Nicki Minaj, I mean, I got direct access to that. So that's just it's a very big, situation for, anytime I call Wayne for anything, he's going to answer. You know what I mean? Because he knows I was one of the guys that were there when, he was going through his tough time. You know what I mean? So, and that led to me booking Lil Wayne for one of the biggest bookings he's ever had, too, which came in 2018 in the midst of the lawsuit. The lawsuit went on until 2020. A lot of people don't know that. So, like, in 2015, we did the Sorry for the Wait tour. 3 years later, I ended up booking Wayne for the AVN Awards, which is the Adult Video Network Awards. I booked him for that, a 2-night performance in 2018 that made fucking all of the headlines all over America. They're like, wow, Wayne skips the Grammys and goes to the Porn Awards. And I booked him for that, which is still to this day has been my biggest booking to this very day. right now.
Oh, that's a good one, dude.
Yeah, AVN Award 2018, man. That was monumental for us, bro. Like, I spent a week in Vegas, like, getting pampered around from AVN. Like,
Oh shit,
bro. Yeah. Yeah, it was huge, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, Jake. That was like one of the best times in my life. 2018 was, in general, was probably the best year I've had as an agent up until 2021, man. Because this year has been monumental. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this year has been monumental. Even in the pandemic, this year and 2018 have been neck and neck.
Yeah.
Yep, it's been neck and neck, bro.
That's crazy. Well, I think I got everything I need to do a solid write-up on what you got going on. Was there anything that you wanted to add that we didn't talk about at all?
Nah, not right now, Jake. I think that's gonna, on top of us, of course, we got the website. Everything's available on the website, splashlifebooking.com. And then, one thing that we do is we try to give up and coming artists opening act opportunities. So on our website, we do have a little submission tab for opening acts and up and coming artists. Because at one point I was an up and coming artist trying to open up for people, and I was trying to get my music heard when I was an artist. So I always try to give that opportunity back to people. And of course, it's not a free opportunity, but you have to invest in yourself. So what we do is we try to, every single time there is a show and if there's a slot available, and we try to create the opportunity for the next up and coming person. Because I can give you a prime example. In 2019, before the pandemic, like, Rod Wave was opening up for Kevin Gates, and he was making $1,000 a show, and nobody knew who Rod Wave was. And now Rod Wave is selling 7,000 tickets and doing his own headline tour all over America, bro. You know what I mean? And nobody knew who Rod Wave was. So, and 2 years later, he's one of the biggest artists in hip-hop. So that's one thing that we try to do at Splash Life Booking, is try to create opportunities for the up-and-coming and just try to give back.
Right, because you never know who's going to pop.
And so you never know, bro. That's why we always keep our doors open, and we just try to give back as much as we can. And we're accessible, man. You can always DM us on Instagram, send us a message. You can hit our website, hit our Twitter, Facebook. So we try to respond to everybody, man. So that's one thing that we pride ourselves on, is just having an open door policy, man, and keeping that line of communication open for everybody.
You're not sleeping on anybody.
Nah, man, you just never know, bro. You just have no idea who's gonna be the next one to get up out of here, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you, Jake, taking the time to do this too, man.
So yeah, it's all good. Here, let me stop the recording here.
I bet.